Welcome everyone to Hawaiian IANDS. We're broadcasting live to Facebook and want to welcome you all here tonight. Hopefully everyone is dry. We're having nice floods and snowstorms and everything here in Hawaii. Pretty interesting. So I want to welcome you all tonight. We have Hila Baruch here from IANDS Israel, and she is going to be, Jack, you can go ahead and put the share down. Did you do that?
Yes.
Okay. So we have Hila Baruch here tonight from IANDS Israel. And in 2014, as a result of a botched surgical operation, she bled out following her surgery, and which was compounded by the hospital confusing her blood test with the type of another woman. Hila had a near-death experience that changed her world. Having worked for years in Israel as a courtroom attorney, her NDE left her with the knowledge that she was not who she thought she was, that she could no longer continue her work as before. Hila discovered many realizations that were challenging at first and are still continuing, but led ultimately to a real sense of freedom. While trying to integrate what had happened with her NDE, Hila discovered that Israel lacked the sources and support for NDEers and felt called to create a local IANDS chapter, which, as you all know, is International Association for Near-Death Studies. She wanted to connect with other experiencers, raise public awareness, and provide support for those struggling with the after effects of similar episodes. Hila and IANDS Israel vision is to collect all the insights of the NDEers around the world into one universal language of the heart. Hila gives lectures and meetings and one-on-one, and you can contact her through the IANDS-Israel.org website. And her, also on our website, HawaiianIANDS.com, you'll have the rest of the links to all of her Facebook pages so that you can contact her. Hila, welcome.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. My heart beats. I don't know if it's because the coffee and the Red Bull that I drank, because it's the middle of the night here in Israel and I just need to be awake. So I hope I'll be focused and you will be with me, and it's a huge honor for me every time to tell my story, and I'm still very excited and I'm still processing things. So before I'll start, I just want to tell you, thank you for being here and giving me the opportunity to share what I've been through. I think that everyone who had NDE still struggle in the first years, maybe all his life, I'm not sure yet. But this platform is so important. Also here in Israel, that we are trying to raise the awareness about NDE, about all the insights of NDE, and try to distinguish between fear and the wisdom of love. So let's start. My story began 7 years ago. I had a small surgery and they left a blood vessel open in my body. So for 3 weeks, I thought that I'm in healing pain, but I was bleeding internally. And I rushed to the hospital and they rushed me into the surgery room after 24 hours that they had mistake with my blood sample. And only after that, they understood that I lost almost all of the blood in my body. I had 3, my hemoglobin, the number of the blood test was 3. So there is so much miracles that I stayed alive. And they rushed me to the surgery room and I fainted, but I still heard what they talked around me. And they were like, the doctor, all the medical staff, they were like, she's going to die. This girl is going to die. And I panicked because I was 30 years old. And I thought to myself, okay, this is it. Like, this is my life. This is the end of my life. This is the end of my journey. This is how my life is going to end. I didn't get married yet. Or have had children. And I wasn't ready to finish my life. And I was yelling inside of my heart, I want to live, I want to live, I want to live. But this is life. It's the end of my journey, seriously. And I got an answer. But this answer, it was like an earthquake inside of my body. It was all of me was the answer, and the answer was no. So if before I was panicked, now I became horrified that, okay, now I'm going to die. And I think that I wasn't in the path that I needed to. I don't know what's the right path, but I know it wasn't my path that I needed to do. So where am I going? If there is something that there is a place that I will go. And I was panicked, and I opened my eyes and I saw the doctor who saved me, Dr. Bruchim, and he said, we will do everything to save you, but if he will save you, we'll have to take organ maybe out, and maybe you will be connected to machines. And they took me to the surgery room, and while they took me, I said a chapter from Psalms. I don't know, I know just how to say it in Hebrew, Shaun. It's like שיר למעלות, אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אדוני עושה שמיים וארץ, אל יתן למוט רגליך, אל ינום שומריך, הנה לא יישן ולא ינום שומר ישראל, אדוני שומריך, אדוני צלך על יד ימיניך. יומם השמש לא יככה וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך, אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם. I said that, but it wasn't like now, because then the words were spoken through me. I didn't feel that I'm speaking those words. It felt like it's spoken through me, and I was only the pure meaning of those words. And I never felt how easy to be the pure meaning of words, like talking so much in the courtroom, and sometimes it was bullshit, lawyers. So suddenly feeling like the pure essence of every letter, it was like, for me, like the exit from the matrix, the beginning of the exit. And after that, I looked around me, all the medical stuff, and I had a word in my mind. It was chaos. I saw that nobody knows what's going to happen with me. They were worried. And then I closed my eyes and I said, hear, O Israel, the Lord of our God, the Lord is one. And then I opened my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, I was in a different realm. I felt confident. I felt good. I didn't know if I'm going to live or I'm going to die, but I knew that everything is going to be all right. And I saw, when I opened my eyes, I saw my great grandmother. She was in front of me, and she was inside of a big, huge flame. And my two cousins were next to me too. They all weren't alive. And I was so happy that they are there with me. And I said to them, I'm so happy you're here with me. And the doctor came to me and he put his hand on my head and he said, we will do everything to save your life. And when he touched my head, I felt his hand crossing my head. I felt all the particles of his hand inside my head. I felt all the grace, all the life-saving, all the good things that he did with his hand in my head. It was huge. It was like feeling so many graceful things that he did, but I was the pure essence of that too. And I really loved him in that moment. And when he touched my head, I thought to myself, it's so weird that his face are so close to my face. It looked like if I'm doing like a little bit this, I'm touching his nose. And I didn't understood that time in that level that I'm up to my body. Like this is the bed and I'm here. And the doctor is told, so how come I'm so close to his face? And after that, I felt tinglings that get from my toes up to my head. But those tinglings were like a tinglings of love. For example, if we take all the love that mothers have to their children, all the mother that ever had, that will be, and the mothers that still here right now in present, and take this love and put it in a bottle, this essence of love, and inject it to your body, it wasn't even close to what I felt. And those tinglings were going up to my head, and it was all in my head. And then I couldn't feel all the rest of my body. And when it was in my head, I felt that my head is the universe, like all the stars, everything, the stones, the trees, people, the sky, everything that exists. I felt everything in me, like living, even the ground, everything is living. And there is so much life. I never felt that there is so much life and everything is in my mind. That's crazy. And the beautiful thing that it was natural. It was like, wow. And yet, yeah, of course. And I could stay there like forever. And then something else happened, because I started to hear a noise that wasn't so it was irritating noise, like there is a DJ who is playing with the noise there, and suddenly it became all the medical staff, their voices became mechanic voices. It wasn't like the normal voice that like robots, you know what I mean? And the movement of them, like it filled the place, and it felt like I'm going to have some transition, and everything is like what's the word of that? Shaun, help me. Like yes, shaking, sorry. And everything like is like shaking, and I wasn't ready for this noise. I couldn't contain that. It was like crossing everything, like my being. It was like too much for me. And I was like asking inside of myself, like, please stop, make it stop. And then I hatched from the core of every cell and cell from my body. And it was like a swing, and suddenly I floated like where the ceiling is, and I looked from there about to the surgery room and the doctors and everything. And the first thing that I felt, it was, I'm home. Oh my God, I'm home. And it felt so good. It felt like all the universe is like hugging me. It felt like the particles love me. They love me, like everything love me, hugging me. And I am not something separated. I'm a part of everything. And I felt the connection of that. And there was breathing like everything was like that and expanding, and then, and like a balloon when you take breathing out and in. And I was one particle of love of this, but in this balloon. And I felt this endless wisdom thinking me. And I don't know what's the word in English for that, but it felt, it was, I'm feeling so much respectful for this feeling, and I miss that also so much, to feeling this,
like unconditional universal love.
Yes, exactly. And in that time, I got all the answers that I had. Like, I had a lot of questions about the meaning of life and why we are suffering in this life, and why there is death, and if there is really God, or just like something that people imagination. And I had a lot of questions, and while suddenly, once I was out of my body, all the answers got inside of me. I was the answers. It wasn't God inside of me. I was the answers. It was, but in the same time, like a drops of rain, that everything, all the answers come together. And my body, I looked at my body, but it was for me like something that I wore, and now this is who I am. And I'm here. This is not who I am. And I was in so much pain before that I didn't even want to focus. I didn't so much care, but I was very grateful for this body. And I wanted to tell the doctor that I am, that I feel good, that I am okay. Because before I saw that there is chaos, and suddenly I see that everything is so much like in the right order. Okay. And I wanted to say to the doctor, I tried to tell him, I'm okay. I feel good. Everything is okay. But he didn't hear me, of course. He was thinking and feeling anger because he thought about the first surgeon who operated me in another hospital. He was, what's the word of that? I'm sorry, be with me. Shaun, he had a stage where the doctor right now, like, have my surgery. So the first one make a stage on his work. So that's how I knew that they know each other, because he was angry on him. He was like teaching him, and he was angry on him, like left like that he leave a blood vessel open, and he took responsibility
He
on
botched
me.
his job. The other one had botched the job that he had taught him how to do.
So he was the one that operate me. He was like taking responsibility on me. He was like I'm his daughter, and I tried to calm him down. But when he was thinking about the first doctor, I launched to a cabin in the north, and I saw the first doctor who operated me 3 weeks before in a cabin in a vacation with his wife, and looking in his phone, and he sees that like the phone calls from the hospital, and he doesn't answer. But I know why he doesn't answer, and I accept that. Actually, it's private, it's his, and I don't want to talk about it. But I wasn't angry or something like that. I tried to tell my mom too, because I felt that she is worried, and I launched to where she said she tried to pray, and then she was doing like that. She couldn't believe that they told her that her daughter can die. And I tried to tell her, Mama, I'm good, Mama, seriously, I feel good, don't worry about me. But she didn't hear that, and I launched back to the surgery room, and my great grandmother, my 2 cousins, they were there, and I knew that now we are going to another realm. That's like the train is coming. I didn't know what's going to happen, where I'm going to go, but I was so confident. I felt so good. I felt I'm home. It was like I remembered. Then I remember that we are going up from the hospital, and the next thing that I remember that I'm in a darkness world, and that was a world without a beginning, without an end. It just was darkness, void, and the darkness, it wasn't like when it's dark here. No, even if it will be the most darkness, like I will try to make it, it's not even close. It was like cement, this darkness, like you can, like waves of darkness. And I was there alone, and I felt there the gap between my real identity and my false identity. Now that I know who I am, the false identity that I had, the lawyer in the court, the woman who thinks that she everything on her control, suddenly this gap, I was feeling this gap. I was feeling the missing of my soul potential, and the gap that I didn't feel my soul potential. It was shameful for me, so much that I became to be the shame itself. And it wasn't easy. I thought I would be there eternally. But after knowing that, understanding that, I felt that I'm being watched. I felt, even it wasn't easy to contain that, I felt that I'm inside of a womb, that even there is some kind of a veil, like a baby that doesn't see his mother, but he believes that he's connected to someone, and he feels somebody feeding him. I felt that I am in a womb, and I started to hear the talking about me in the house of judgment, which I call it the house of mercy. I will explain it after. And it felt like I didn't hear like words, but I felt the meaning. It was like, why bring her back and why not? And while that, I see what's going on in the surgery room, and I see that they're inviting more blood for me, samples, blood units, sorry, for me. And my condition is not good. And then I'm starting to yell, I want to fix, I want to come back, I want to fix, I want to feel my mission. I don't know what is my mission yet, but I want to do what I need to do. I just want to fix, bring me back, but take me to the house of judgment. So I will convince them that I want to go back to this life. I want to fix. And when I wanted this and I yelled, I saw a golden spot, and it felt like a star in the sky, like it felt like so far away. But as much as I wanted more and more, it came to me and I came to it. And today I know that wanting something, willing, is like a vessel that take me to what I want. And I emerged with that golden spot, and that golden spot was a world itself. And I was in amazing hall, and all this platform had feelings of mercy and love, so different than the court, when the judge sitting here, the lawyer, like everything is, it's the opposite. Like, it's all about love, nobody judging me. And I'm there, and there is a thousand of souls behind me. And even souls, like if I was driving and I stopped and I let somebody to cross the road, even those souls were there. They were like giving testimony on me, but it's not like testimony like going to the court and I'm inviting and now let's make investigation and make the testimony. No, only by their being there, that's the testimony. Because there is no veil, it's all known. Their being, it's the testimony. And I felt waves from them, waves of love behind me, waves that says, we can understand her, she's understood, we understand her. In front of me, there were 3 rabbis. The first rabbi, he said to me, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. But remember when I told you that when I was in the darkness world, I said, I want to go back, I want to fix and that, remember? Well, when I got to the house of mercy, there was no option going back to this earthly life for me. It was all about, no, I'm going up, I'm going home. Like, no way. I'm done with Hila. I'm done with this identity. This is who I am. I'm not going back. Everything changed. I'm going up. Oh, but when I'm saying up, it feels like the other world that I wanted to continue if I was dying, it's up. And I was thinking about it. It's not really up. It's up because it's higher. But it's not up, it's inside. It's like an onion that you take off, you peel the layers, and so you get inside. So as much as I take more layers or veil or whatever you call it, I get inside. So the other world, the world beyond, is like here, it's not there. So it's like as much as I get into myself and knowing myself. So he said, you need to come back. You need to make your own journey, because I was living other people's journeys all the time, trying to help other people, but still I was making their journey, but I didn't live in my life. And I was like, I couldn't, I'm not going back. No, no way. But it's not talking, it was telepathic, all this. And the other rabbi who was in front of me in the right, he showed me my life review. And my life review, there is a lot of insights that I got from my life review that I'm still progress. And every time that I'm sharing my experience, I'm trying to take another something that I had from the life review. And I saw things that I was in the court. I saw also those things, but we have this on another videos. Maybe I will talk today about what they showed me when I was a child. I was 5 years old, and since I was a child, I was asking my mom always questions like why we're here, why people die, and that and that. And every time my mom told me, she said today, look, you were very young and you were asking deep questions and I didn't know the answers. So every time she told me when I was young, I will think about it and tomorrow I will give you an answer. So we're laughing, me and my mom. I'm telling her, Mom, until today, I'm waiting for your answers, you know? So maybe because of that, everything happened to me, waiting so much time for those answers. And I was 5 years old and I've been shown this, that I'm talking with God. I was like having thoughts, and then I thought to myself, maybe this is all my imagination. Maybe my parents, they're like, this is what they've been taught, and maybe there is no God. And I was frustrated as a child because I thought I will grow up and I will find out that I was talking to nothing, you know? So I decided to make a deal with God, if he exists. So I said, look, if you exist, because I know I need to know that I'm really talking to you, for someone that exists. So if you exist, and remember, I was only 5 years old, okay? So my deal wasn't the deal that I would, you know. I said, if you exist, make that tomorrow in the morning in the drawer of my socks, there will be a candy. That's what I want. And why I said candy, I will give you a preview. We were a chocolate house. I love, me, my brother, like we loved only chocolates, not candies, candies only on birthday parties. So there was no option in our house, candies, but chocolates, a lot. And what happened is that nowhere that will be a candy there, and I'm waking up in the morning. I didn't remember that, but it was winter. I'm taking off the drawer to take off my socks and I see a candy there. And I take this candy and I'm running to my mom and I'm telling her, Mom, look, God gave me this candy. He put it in my drawer. And she said, no, it's me. So I was thinking, okay, but why you put it there? And she said, I don't know. I was in the store before I woke you up and I said, maybe I will surprise you. So I thought to myself as a child, she never did that. And now she do that. So this is God or this is my mom? What's the answer? So I had still like a question about it. Who was it? And I've been shown this situation, but I've been shown this situation in the other side of the mirror. Imagine to yourself that you are talking to the mirror all of your life, and suddenly you have the option to feel the listening of the person who is listening to you all this time, when he's on the other side of the mirror and he's trying to talk to you and trying to tell you things, and he's loving you, and suddenly you feel his love, you feel his presence. So when I've been shown what happened to me when I was 5, I experienced that not only as a child, not only as my mom, like all the actors in this play, I experienced that on the side of the presence of God, to feel that he was present there. He was here all the time, and it felt, he's telling me, you see, Hila, I was here all the time. When you were talking to me, when you were 5, when you were asking all those questions. And if you thought that your story of your life is when you were a dancer or a lawyer, this is not the story. The story is all the questions that you asked about the meaning, all the things that make you progress to be much more connected to your soul, to me. All the places that you were going through, even if it's the court or no matter what, it was all roads for me, for love. This is the program, education for love. And the way that I've been shown my situations that I had situations also that I thought, okay, before I'm going to the court, please God, make this case to succeed. Now I succeed. Oh my God, I'm so good. Like there is no God now, you know. I've been shown that too, to see that how much I was thinking this is me and me and me, and how false it was, and how much God was with me all the time. And for me, it was huge because I felt that nobody is judging me, and I was judging all the time. I felt that I am having like a process of a learning process through my life review to understand all the places that I've been through, to that there were places that's supposed to expand my being and my impact of other people, and not for me or ego or something like that. But still I felt shame, like about the gap, or shame about when I felt what other person felt. Like I had investigation, and I investigated 82 years old man who had the Holocaust, and he was in a very bad shape, and I was supposed to even investigate him. I wasn't dealing with these cases, but the woman from my office, she gets to have to labor, and then they rushed me to the courtroom, go there, and I was in shock, and I saw old man, and I'm supposed to represent the bank against him. And I remember that I almost cried because I couldn't do what I'm supposed to do as a lawyer. And I felt to myself in those moments, I didn't go to be a lawyer to do this. And all the years I was embarrassed because of that. I felt that if somebody tell me, you're nice, you're good, and I'm like, no, you don't know, I'm bad, you don't know what I did. Like inside of me, I felt very not clean. And what I've been shown, that it was the right thing, that I will be there because I won't be able to do what I need to do. And when I've been shown this situation, I felt, how is it to be 82 years old after Holocaust with no help or people that will help you to provide yourself, that you are dealing with yourself and alone. And I always have had a weakness to adults. So, but it was for me, I'm sorry, I need a goal. It was a goal. It was a message that we need to take, because, all the technology, and we are like taking people like as a product. They need to make things, and the old people of the society, this is our, like, the wisdom of the nation. And instead of respecting them, we're acting, not we, but how we're developed, that we're acting to society who is producing things, productive, instead of the opposite. So this was also a big message from me, and I hope that we will be able to do much more and influence here in hospices in Israel and things like that. This is very, very important. So I will move on, because only the life review, this is like a lecture itself, but I just want to have a few dots, okay? So after my life review, I still didn't want to come back. And the rabbi that was in the middle, he said, okay. And then he showed me my funeral. And he wanted to show me what will happen to my mom, my family, the people that I love that will be in pain if I won't come back. But it didn't change anything. I just knew everything would be okay with them. So the first rabbi who talked with me, I'm sorry. After I didn't want, he showed me the family that I'm supposed to reincarnate to. And he said, you will be in another world, like this is a world of between. And I don't know what to call this world, but I'm not going up, like in, but a world of between. And then you will reincarnate to this family. And I was like, and you will go through everything you learned in this life. You will go through everything from the beginning. And for me, I didn't agree for that, because there is no chance. Like, think if somebody is telling you to going through everything from the beginning, everything, all the lessons, everything, like you're going back in your consciousness. And there was no option for that for me. I said, no, not for this and not for this. I'm home. And then the first rabbi who talked to me, the first one, he told them, I guarantee her, leave her to me. And then he told me, he showed me the future. I don't remember the future, and thank God I don't remember, like going to a movie and know what's going to happen. I don't want to know. But after I've been shown the future, he asked me, do you agree? And I said, yes, I agreed to come back. There is a difference between agree and choose or want. Like agree, it's like from outside, okay. But choosing, wanting, it's from inside. So I had to do a process of choosing life. In the Bibles, it's written there. I give you the bless and the curse, the good and the bad. Choose life. And we can ask ourselves, why? Like it's like God saying, I'm giving you this and this. Don't ask the blessed, don't ask the good. choose life like this is, don't take it for granted, because for the soul coming back, being reduced with all these layers on her and body that wants to get to himself, and the soul only wants to give. Like once I'm in the body, I'm in duality, you know, in a conflict. Once I'm in the body, soul, it's like the flame of the candle. She is always going to go up to emerge, but this of the candle, it's always go down. This is like the body, and the between, I don't know how to say it in English. This is our willing, who is connecting us, what I'm identified with. I identify with my soul, or I'm identified with my body. I can make my body to be a tool for my soul, or the opposite. So I was wasn't ready. I was ready to come back. I was agreeing to choose life. As I said, it's for the soul coming here. She wants to come here, but it's not easy. And I accepted what he said, and I promised 3 things. The first thing was, I will come back to myself. In Hebrew, it calls tshuva. It means I will ashuv, I will come back to my real identity, to my soul, and not to this duality. Like I said before, like the false identity. I will come back to myself. So every day, I hope I'm trying to come back in tshuva to myself. The second thing is use the skills that God gave me to spread the light instead of fighting the darkness. Going to the courtroom is trying to fight in the darkness, and I don't need to be there anymore. Using those skills to spreading the light. And before my NDE, I took those skills that God gave me and I made them my talents. You know, there is no talents. There is no Israel talent, American. This is all tools, that these tools are also vessels to spread love, light. This is not mine. Talent, it means this is mine. No, this is a tool. The third thing was, tell what happened to you. Well, if you're asking me, like a few years, if this what's happening right now will happen, I will say that you are crazy, all of you. I'm sorry, but seriously, that's what I would say, because I would never think that I would talk about it, not in English, not in Hebrew, not in any language. I was sure that if I will talk and people will know everybody, I will be a lunatic with a signature, you know? And I thought I will do what I promised. I will write a book and nobody will know who wrote this book. I will have a name, you know, the name of only for books, but nobody will know. And okay, then he said to me, I trust you. And I started the journey of coming back to this earthly life. And the screen get up from get down, and I got into the screen, and suddenly I was in a world of light, and the world of light was the world of the darkness that I was before, but now this is the world of the light. And there was a soul that escorted me, and in this, and she was with me all the time until I woke up, and a little bit after also. And what happened is that she asked me, do you want to take off your shoes? So I have nobody. And what shoes she's talking about. But while I was there, I knew what shoes she's talking about. It was the habits. It was everything that I put on me, all the patterns that I have. And I had an option to coming back to my body without that. And I said no. Who said no? My soul. But if you were asking me, sometimes it happens to me that I'm thinking to myself, why I said no? Why? I could be right now, but no. The soul doesn't want shortcuts. She wants to make the journey. She wants to make it with not getting like free. She wants to have those tools. And I said to this soul, no, I don't want to take off these shoes. I'm comfortable with. And there was a door that I opened. And when I opened this door, I was like in a world, not in this world, like in a world that is only sky and clouds. And I was on one of the clouds. There is people in my life that will say that I'm still in this cloud, but I don't know. And then there was a rope ladder from this cloud, and I started to go down. And when I went down, I was, imagine yourself being in the space without the uniform, the suit, So it was amazing, this experience there. And then I continued, and I had left only 3 levels on the rope ladder, and then I had to jump to the ocean. I didn't get immediately to the ground. I got to the ocean when I got to the earth. And then I understood, oh my God, I'm getting back now. I'm getting back to this earthly life. Oh my God, what I'm supposed to be here now? I don't know what should I do. I don't want to be here. And I panicked, and I immediately wanted to go back up to the ladder, and I almost started. And the soul that escorted me, she said, what are you doing? And I said, I want to be with my family. And every resistance that I had, she solved that. Every tie that I had, she solved that. She talked to me, but inside of me, it wasn't outside. And she loved me. I felt that she understood me, she loved me. And after that, I had another level to go. And then I said, but I don't want to. There is a concealment here. I cannot. I will feel that I'm abandoning myself, abandoning the oneness. I don't want to. And she said, look, this concealment is good. This is all this concealment. You think this is bad, but this is the mercy, because you have to have this concealment, this veil, these boundaries, because if you want, you will be explode from love. You have to have that. And this is for you. And then I went down, and I had only the last one. And then I said, it sounds like an excuse, but it wasn't. I said, I don't know where to direction to go. And she said, jump and you will know. Remember, there is a navy of angels and souls that with you all the time, not only with me, with all of us. That's the amazing thing. With every person, every soul, there is a navy that's with us and protecting us and guiding us. And she said, jump and you will know. And I jumped and I started to swim. but it wasn't a body. Everything that I'm saying, it was a symbols. That's why sometimes in this process, my process, there is things that I not always reveal because I'm trying to find the words of the meanings. I don't want people to be stuck on the symbols. I want, because it's not the symbols, it's the meaning. So I was swimming and I had no power. And this is also a metaphor of things that happens to us in life. And I thought to myself, okay, you brought me here to drown. I want to come back, but like with drowning like that, it's not possible. I need to ask for help. Like, you are never alone. Don't think you're alone. You are doing things alone. Immediately I said that. I thought that. A fish, like a lot, like amazing colors, but living colors, you know, like here it's flat, the colors, but it was I don't have words. Living colors, okay?
In living color. It was brilliance in living color. It was alive.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And they had pushed me like there, and there was a big whale who also was with them, and they pushed me to the beach, and I was on the beach, and I was also thankful for all those, it feels like souls, not really okay, fish. And well, in Hebrew, well, if you separate the letters, it's like the meaning, the I will say it in English. If you spread the word for two, Leviathan, it's Lev Natan. It means giving heart. So I was on the beach and there was a room there, and I'm getting inside the room and I see my grandpa. And again, I'm so whiny, and I was crying and crying, like I was panicked, and I was like, Grandpa, how I will live here, and what should I do? What I will do here? I don't know what to do. What should I do? And he pointed on a Bible, and I wasn't looking there. I was like, what should I do? I was panicked. And then he said that he needs to go. And I was so respectful that in the minute that he said it, I was like, okay. And I just went out this room, and poof, this room that was the only thing in the beach vanished. He vanished. I looked at that, vanished. And then I'm opening my eyes in the recovery room. I see my mom next to me, and I hear a voice that says, you are complete. Like there is no organ outside. You're complete. You're healthy, you're complete. And I was so cheery, not because of the complete. In the minute that I opened my eyes, like all this thing, oh my God, I'm here. Like, how you pushed me to this body. This is crazy. So I was like, I couldn't laugh, but if I could in those moments, I would laugh so loud. But I was cheery and happy, and I smiled, and then I went back to sleep. I woke up again. My parents were beside me, and I couldn't stop talking, and I was like, Mom, Dad, look what happened to me. Like there is no death. Like we're living after that. And great-grandmother, she was with me, and the aunt Miriam, and the other aunt, they're living, you know. And I was so happy, and they were looking at me, and they believe in God. but I was so happy and cheery, and like, with a lot of energy, even though my body was weak, that they were looked at me like maybe this is the morphine, the drugs, and I was like, I saw on their eyes that this is what they think, and I was like, believe me, I know what I'm telling you, mom, dad. I know, I saw you, mom, and I saw that, and I talked, and then I told them I tried to explain them how it's possible. It's a miracle. How it's a miracle. It's a big wonder getting into the body. And I was in such a big wonder that I said, I was asking God, forgive me an example. And the example that suddenly came through me was, imagine, because I was trying to explain my parents, and I really want them to understand and to know that I'm serious. I'm not. It's not about morphine or something else. And I told them, imagine yourself if you take an ocean and you try to put it in in an envelope paper. Like, this is no, it's not possible. And the doctor came, and they were like looking at me and says, when they with the protocol and checking you, and they were like, Hila Baruch, and I'm like, no, this is not me, please don't put me in a box, I'm much more than Hila Baruch. And they were all looking at me like I'm crazy. So they sent me a social worker, and she came to me, and I started to interview her. Why are you coming to me? You are from oncology? It's not the connection to me. So what are you doing here? No, you had a trauma. And I was like, thinking to myself, I didn't even tell her what happened to me, why she's saying trauma. And I thought to myself, why you think that? And she said, something is wrong with you. And I said, why? She said, look at yourself. So I looked at myself, and I still have like two, what's the words? Drain pipes, maybe, in my stomach.
Yeah, drainage,
Okay.
drainage pipes to drain the fluids in the blood.
Okay, thank you. So I thought maybe I tried to understand, and I looked at that, and she said, no, it's not that. Look at you. You're happy. So I understood in that minute, because when she said that you're happy, I started to laugh so loud, because I thought to myself, oh my God, if I will tell her what happened to me, for sure she is going to think that I'm lunatic. Like, there is no way. I'm like on one way going to one direction. Like, I know there is people I cannot tell them, but it was so funny for me. And on the other hand, it felt like such a miss. Like, I want to tell her, like, everybody needs to know that. I wanted to run to, and especially go to all the oncology people in the department there, and all the people who are, on the edge. And I want to hug everybody, and I want to tell everybody, there is no death. It's all about love. And I understood that I can't. So I tried to do it like when I feel somebody is open, and I understood. It was after my NDE that it felt like I know like, for example, like I know the cure for cancer, and I go to the sick people and I tell them, look, this is the cure for cancer. And they said, no, I don't want to know. And I didn't understand how people don't want to know that there is life after life. And if it felt I'm holding like a huge secret, this is not mine. This is all of us, and nobody told me. And it felt like somebody deceived me, but nobody deceived me. I deceived myself, like that I tried to make me and me and me, and not to think as a we. So this is my story. I will just end it and say that one of the things that made me to start to think about, okay, we need here people to have a group and everything. I didn't know about IANDS. I didn't know about NDE. I wrote clinic death in Hebrew. My English wasn't so good that time to listen or see like long videos. And when I was looking, I saw only in Hebrew things with fear and judgment. And I said, oh my God, maybe I had a different God. What's going on? Like, why this is like this? And I like this. Maybe something is wrong with me. I felt that I'm not okay, that I am the opposite. And after 4 or 5 years, I found out from my rabbi who called the rabbi Arik Nove. And he was a researcher before he was a rabbi, and he researched a clinic death. And he talked about IANDS, and he told me go and read stuff and be aware to the research. And I suddenly, a world got open to me. And the first time I read about the after effects, it was one of the best presents that I ever had, because this was for me also a signature that I'm not crazy, because it felt like somebody was watching me and wrote about me all that. And now, okay, this is normal, living all this after effect. I didn't know this is normal. I didn't understood why I am like that, and knowing people who had NDE was must for me. And I thought we need to have a group here, and God help us to establish the IANDS branch here in Israel. Here in Israel, there is around 40 volunteers, and it's not easy because in the Corona, they all helped, but now this is that people got back to work and everything, but it's like really a family, and we have still a lot of work to raise the awareness, because a lot of videos that was here in Israel that connect the other world to fear, to change a perception, it's not easy, but the consciousness, the collective consciousness started to change. As much as the separation, by the way, is getting stronger, the collective consciousness is getting also higher. It's always like, in the same,
It's always expanding.
I know, I meant to say like, it's like that, if it's getting much more separation, it's much more potential for oneness, for being, so it's always, the potential is also there. And what I've been, I took with me, it's not only the insights that I'm still trying to integrate, it's the fact that we're all in a place, in a generation that we are telling people, this is democracy. Go and talk and tell your opinion. And before my NDE, I had an opinion about everything. And today, actually, most of the things are rather not to have an opinion. If my opinion going to separated between me and you, I don't need this opinion, And suddenly things has changed, and looking the technology develop, and the easy way that we are writing messages on Facebook and respond, and it's so easy, on the keyboard to write it down, and it's like the technology make us much more separated from each other, because it's much more easy, because you don't sit to the next person. And it made me think about all the opinion, because we're always trying to force our opinion. And what's the purpose of that? Like, I don't want all the people think like me. I don't want like the people will look the same. This is like the beauty of the divine, that there is so many beautiful faces and so many different opinions. This is supposed to be like that. And and we can take what God gave us and make it a tool of a play, make it a violate, or I can make it a tool for a war. You know, I can make from the same material something for spread light or something for war. So it's about choosing from inside of me what I want to identify. I want to identify with the separation, or I want to identify with the internal truth, with the oneness. And the thing with an opinion is that sometimes we think that if I don't say my opinion when I'm sitting with people, if I don't, in the front or things like that, I am not count. And this is wrong, because if we take a band and you can say, okay, there is a time of a melody, now the singer doesn't sing, or the bass or the drum player doesn't play right now. Does it mean that it doesn't part of the song? Like, if every one of the band will say, okay, I want to be that will hear only me, I want to force the drum all over the song, there won't be any harmony between us. So we can sanctify our tools for union between us, and we can find the same tools that make us to war, make us be as one. And this recognition can make us have a transformation of, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find the right words, okay? The transformation to look at the universe as a one person that spread all over the universe, with like, it's like that every organ is like a different state. And this impact, if we will be able to make this transformation inside of us, it can light the world. I really believe that. And it's not something spiritual out there. It's not philosophic. It's not about religions. It's about wanting the truth. It's about I want to live the truth. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of not living the purpose, the potential of my soul. I'm afraid of living this life with knowing what happened to me, and not living this love with all of the world. I feel that there is no chance that the world will continue like that, because we can look. I didn't meant to talk about it, but sorry, just I see always what happened in the world because I care, and I feel not blame. I feel that I have a part of everything that happened, because we are all connected. And this is one of the things that I also saw in my life review, that how much impact, influence we have on each other. Even when I was walking in the street and somebody was crossing me and I didn't even talking to him, just like that, like just smiling with my eyes, I didn't know this can make a cure for somebody. This is crazy. So even if I'm inside my house and not going anywhere, we're so much connected to each other that my existence right now, or your existence, everybody here existence, is influenced the people around you that connected to you, even without saying a word, one word, only by being the meaning that you are. So this is amazing that there is NDEs around the world that can be American, Brazilian, from Iran, Arabian, Jewish, European. It doesn't matter who you are. This is a story about love. And right, there is pain, there is suffering, but how will I know? How will I recognize? How will I know what is the meaning of mercy if I won't know and experience a cruelty? How will I know what is good if I won't experience the bad? So the Black platform, it's like the opportunity to reveal the light of the soul. Like, because if I take like this candle, and I'm going out and there is sun, and I'm doing like that, I won't see the light of the candle in the sun. But if I will take the candle in a dark room, I will see the light of the candle. So only one candle, small candle, can light all the room. What? All the room. We don't need so much. We don't need to fight the ego, but we don't even need so much to fight the ego. We just need to turn on the lights and not letting, I'm sorry, but saying that I didn't mean to, but it feels like who managed the world, it's all about ego, but I think that the change will come from our consciousness together. And one of the vision that we have in IANDS Israel, and I will finish with that, is we want to connect all the NDEs, like wisdom, insights, to one language of the heart. Because if there is something that connecting us, it's the meaning of what NDEs talk. It's the meaning of that. It can be a different metaphors, but it's the same meaning. And this is amazing. And this is what made me understand that I am not alone, and I'm not crazy. And I will finish with that. And oh, I'm sorry. One more thing, okay? Okay. By living with the language of the heart, that there won't be any limits, something that separates between us, because this is the language of the heart. And if we will do it, our life will be with much more purpose. And when I'm talking about purpose, I'm always saying that it feels like coming back here, that it's like a hunt, treasure hunt. But what is the treasure? It's not something outside. It's the soul. It's to reveal our soul. So I want to bless all of us, that our soul will be revealed, and that we will be connected and combined together to one. Because if everyone is like holding one value, that's amazing, but we need to be together as, like I said, like a one human being that's spread all over the universe. So I'm blessing all of us that we will reveal our soul and light this world and sanctify our pure meaning and potential of our soul, and feeling the divine that we already are. And thank you for listening so much.
That is wonderful. Amazing. One thing I forgot to tell everybody about Hila is, so when she's saying at the end, the universal language, when Hila, it was like before we even met, we knew each other, me and Hila. And I don't speak her language at all, but we completely understand each other. And it's so awesome. This is why IANDS, Hawaiian IANDS and, IANDS and IANDS Israel is so valuable, because so many of us, as many of you know, feel like outcast and we feel crazy. And, when you were talking about your family, when you first were coming to, I mean, that the same thing happened to me. And everyone thinks you're all crazy and gives you examinations and so forth. And that's what's really wonderful about IANDS and the sharing groups and so forth, is that experiencers can come together and support each other, build each other up, because the messages are so important. And I just love your messages. And the other thing is, we have a lot of A Course in Miracles students. Have you ever heard of A Course in Miracles?
No.
Okay, so what's amazing is, so we have several here. Almost so much of what you describe is in this book called The Course in Miracles. And it's really wonderful to hear your story. And so if everybody wants to, I have several questions that I'll ask first that have been being sent to me. And then if you guys want to put your questions in the chat, and you can also raise your hand, then we'll go ahead and get to the questions. But let's see, I have several. You've seen The Wizard of Oz, right?
What? Oh, yeah.
So did it feel like that when you first came, when you're like telling everybody, like, that's what I've told several, it's like, remember when she like woke up and it's like, you were there and you were there. And of course, everybody's like, calm down.
Yeah.
So it took you how many years before you actually started researching near-death experiences, or somebody told the term?
Well, actually, the personality that God gave me, which is also a kind of a filter of the soul, but the personality, I love to research things. So, but I didn't get to IANDS because I didn't even thought about this. What I started to research, it's about the atoms. I tried to understand how come that I'm not how it's possible that I'm sitting and I'm not getting into going across the ceiling, everything. Like, how come that there is something that is material that I can sit on it, or so I was trying to understand. Like, my experience was clear. She was the real reality. I needed to understand this reality after being here. I didn't understand how come looking at a flower and I don't know how is it to be a flower. So I needed to understand the reality here on the other side of the mirror. And then things started to combine.
Right. And how about the after effects? Like, when did you start looking those up? Like, when did you realize that you just cannot be a courtroom attorney?
Oh, I changed the occupation on law. What I did, I was like, I used to represent big companies, and after that, I was dealing with civil rights after my NDE. Labor civil rights, and I opened an office because I didn't know what to do. How am I supposed to provide myself, and what will work? This is what I know. And I thought, okay, maybe God wants me to go back to the courtroom But in this identity, real identity, and now I will spread light there. And I felt that I cannot be, I felt it didn't make me feel good. It felt like there is a higher value than justice, and this is the peace. And when suddenly I looked at that and I was like, how come that we become a society that if I win in the courtroom, I'm happy, and my friend lose? I'm happy that he lost and I'm winning and he lose. This is me against you. And it's so, this is why there it wasn't for me at the house of judgment. It was the house of mercy for me. Like here it was the house of judgment. So I couldn't continue. I tried actually, but it felt like I need to do something else. I didn't know what I'm supposed to do, but I didn't want to. It felt like it makes me feel that I'm a liar, you know?
Yeah. So teshuva, is that it? Did I butcher it too bad?
Tshuva.
So like forgiveness, would you say the original doctor that did the surgery and the original one that screwed up, and the blood test, the people that screwed up the blood test, what would you say that after your experience, like how did you feel about them? And maybe you can explain just a little bit about this concept to people.
What do I say? I can say it actually in one sentence. It's a beautiful love comedy. That's what it is. Because the doctor, the first doctor who operated me with the blood vessel open, who left that, he was a very good doctor, but he had during the time a pride, and this is what was his lesson. And he needed to take time also with his wife, because he was all about work. The second doctor, who was the angel who saved me and saw what's going on with me, he was in his last day in his hospital, in that hospital. And in his last day, the last case that he dealt with was my case. So it wasn't for nothing. It was for him to remember me. And what he said also, sorry?
So teshuva, what is that concept? If you could say it in English, what's the?
Yeah. Oh, tshuva. Tshuva, it's like the translation in Hebrew. It's of the word tshuva. It's answer. So in Hebrew, when they say coming back tshuva, in tshuva, it means it's coming back to. Usually, people take this and they take it to religion, but which is amazing, religious. But this is the next thing, because in what identity do you work in God, let's say, okay? So first of all, let's take all the layers. Then let's work God with the real identity. So tshuva means coming back to yourself. How you coming back to yourself? Why it's an answer? It's also the letters of coming back. In Hebrew, the words are in the same word. You have the opposite for here, the opposite for here, the meaning. You always have the meaning in those words. The letters plays with the meanings. So we always, changing. You can see the meaning here and the meaning here. So it's coming back. And then the thing with an answer is I'm coming back with an answer, which means I'm asking questions. And what it means is that we need to ask questions. We stop to ask questions. Why people don't want to know about the life after life? They don't ask questions. But did you see somebody coming to the university and said randomly, give me what degree that you will choose? I'm going to learn that. Get into the train, it doesn't know where he wants to go. So we're coming to this life. We don't ask questions. Why we are here? What's the meaning? What's the purpose of life? We live here like we're going to live here forever. And the meaning of asking questions, it's so important. This is also something that I've been shown in my life review, because I'm always asking questions, and usually people told me, why you always asking questions? Why you can't be like normal? Why this is interfere to myself, those questions? I need to know. I want to know what I'm doing here. So this is not philosophic questions. It's about knowing the truth. So coming back in Tshuva, it's asking and getting an answer, asking and getting an answer. And every time you get an answer, you get another step to your soul. And when I'm saying to your soul, to the connection of God that inside of us. Okay. It was
great.
It was clear.
Yeah, question everything. Always be asking, living in the questioning. Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you. Okay, so you, when you were in the body before and the ego, and then in your NDE, you became part of the one. You weren't separate anymore. How would you say, if somebody here who hasn't had an NDE, how would you tell them to separate how could they learn or separate their false identity from who they truly are?
Yes. Okay. Let's start with the simple thing. You can take a child, you ask him, how do you feel with lying? How do you feel? You can take a lot of values and ask him, how do you feel with that? How do you feel with that? How do you feel with mercy? How do you feel with that? And we, all the human beings, we will say the same. How do you feel with cheating? Bad. How do you feel with that? Good. So what's my real me, my real soul? It will be the good. We are good inside of us. So, but not what makes me feel good. That's different, because this can be like the ego that's trying to play. So first of all, make a list of the values. This is what Rabbi Arik Nevel, when he said it, I thought this is genius, because this is all about simplicity. Yeah? Simplicity. And taking those values and start, okay, this is me, this is not me. So now when I'm saying I'm nervous, who is nervous? The soul is like pure, it's unlimited, it's only wants to give an influence. Who's saying I'm angry, I'm that? It's the body. So once I'm like separated that and I'm saying, okay, this is not me, this is the body, this is me. First of all, be able to distinguish between what is me and what is not me. And what is me, it's the universal values, like patience, peace, mercy, justice, okay? Those things, start with that. And also thing that is really my identity, it's internally. Like, if you will remember something good that you did, okay? or that you felt after you did it, or I don't know, you remember, you will feel the wave of that. You can still feel the wave of that. But if you're eating and it was amazing meal, the best dish, I don't know what, you can, yeah, it was good, but it's not the same. It's not the same. It's like temporary. Everything which is temporary, this is not the real identity. So this is the first, I think, steps. There is, of course, more things that I can talk about, but this is the first steps. And not being alone, not doing anything alone. Always be in society. We are connected and we need to work together. We need to develop together.
Beautiful. Okay, so what did you learn about God in your experience? And is what you experienced about God different than what you thought God was or that you were taught God is?
I love this question because I was when I was in school, I've been taught, like, if you want to do this, you won't do this, and like you will be punished. And I was like, I will never be enough, I couldn't. So I rather not to be in religion because I felt I will never be able to do this and this. So I'm bad anyway. Okay, I can't deal with that. And this is wrong. And we've been taught Bible in some kind of a way. And after my NDE, I thought I didn't meet God because I thought maybe God, like with Moses, it's not true, but like they told in school, and you hear a bass voice, Moshe, Moshe, So I thought I will hear a bass voice that says, Hila, very deep voice. And it wasn't like that. It was infinity. It was endless love. It was a voice that talk inside of you without a voice and stronger. Like the voice here, it's like I'm talking under the water, This is how it feels. And there it's like clear even without talking. So the love that God is, the mercy that he is, and in lawsuits, if somebody said something that isn't right, I don't know how they say it in English, you can sue him that he said something that isn't right about you. I felt that this is what we do to God. This is what I did to God, just from the fact that I thought that he is a punisher, and there is somebody who's sitting in a big chair very high and like doing no, like you're doing to a child. And no, this is like taking the divine and make it like that. This is not God. And I have an agenda and I'm not trying to hide it. I want people to know God equal love. It doesn't mean that you can kill, do anything you want, and you say, okay, because God equal love, I will do anything I want. No. But we need to know that, okay, it's like when a child get running and trying to put his finger in electricity, and you have no time, and the only way you have to stop him is to push him. Now he's 2 years old. Now he thinks that his dad pushed him. His dad is bad. That's what he feels. He doesn't know this is dangerous and that. So saying and thinking with punishments, this is not the divine. This is the ego interpretation, because the only thing that there is the response of the light of our vessel. And if my vessel is like that, and I'm taking something very strong to feel this, it will explode. But if I will take this, it won't be explode. So if it explodes, I will say, oh, this is a broken tool, this is the punishment. No, this is the wrong for the, like, it was the wrong, I'm sorry, it's also the hour right now, but you know what I mean, right? So I understood that God is love, and the only person, only who judge is the ego that inside of us. Like there is a small judgmental person inside of us who needs to say, this is good, this is bad, this is, but, oh, and about, I didn't show you the, this is, I don't know if you see it, right?
Yes.
The darkness world that I try to paint, and it's connected also the answer to that, because even while I was there, you see, it's like a candle in a womb. Even while I was there, I still felt that I'm being watched, I'm loved. So saying God is a punisher, like this is so false. We can't continue with that anymore.
And so you would say that the only one really judging you was maybe yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So about this darkness world, I guess we've already explained it really well, but it's not a punishment.
Yes, it's not a punishment. It's a response for the vessel that we have. Like here, as long as we identify with our soul and we do our actions from that, this is the vessel that we're going up. So if I don't have the vessels, or my vessels are like with not clean, so the darkness world was a laundry, cleaning laundry for my soul. That's the reason why I came back. This darkness world was the light world. So it's just a feedback to your vessel, the light.
And you got to see all the things that you're not. And you also got to see who you truly are.
Yes. It was hard to give it a word, because I told to myself at the hospital, I will come back home and I will write who I am. But it wasn't easy. So I said, okay, because I had only one word, I am love. But I felt, but there is more, because love is a concept, but break it down to details. There is all the values that makes the word love. So here it's split to values. So I felt that I need to, oh, I'm sorry, Shaun, the hour right now.
I know.
I have like, okay.
Need more Red Bull.
It's done.
You answered that really well. Okay, so the Bible talks about loving our neighbors. How would you say that we can love our neighbors if we don't love ourselves? And so how did you learn to love yourself? Or did you see, when you looked down at your body, what was that like? You know, like to have compassion for yourself.
Oh, well, I understood that self-love is not taking care of the body, or taking care of self-love. It's loving the spiritual values that inside of me. So those values are not mine. This is God values. this is the right self-love. It's self-love of because I am talent. No, this is not right love. There is no talent. It's all, we're all equal. We're all particles of love, the sons of God, okay? But being loving myself, it's loving my real identity, my real quality, that connected to my source. This is real love. And to develop and try to expand that in me and outside of me to other people, because love have to be expressed. It cannot be in potential.
Perfect. Thank you. So if there's any other questions, I think I asked everybody's question. If there's any final questions that you want to ask of Hila.
Thank you so much.
So if you put if we put Hila's the website for IANDS Israel and her Facebook page in there again. And so Catherine, it's almost 6 a.m. in Israel, right?
Yes. Yes.
And Hila has been up all night. So thank you so much, Hila. And if you guys would like to reach out to Hila, please email her at IANDS Israel or her Facebook page. We put in here, she has a couple of Facebook pages, the IANDS page and her page. And she also is available for one-on-one consultations. And she will be back because she has a lot more to share. And hopefully she'll be in our sharing group one of these nights.
I wish.
After you recover from this.
Yeah, and after I will sleep. And I also do a one-on-one like meeting. We call it heart to heart. It's not a consolation because I can't say that I give consolations from my NDE because I'm still in progress, but it's meeting one-on-one. I'm not a teacher or a spiritual teacher. I'm sharing things that I'm still trying to integrate. It's a process. So it calls heart-to-heart talks one-on-one. And it was a big honor for me to sharing that with you. And thank you for I really felt, usually according to the people who is listening, the things come out of me. So I felt your vessels that you came with, because everything that came from me, this is not mine. This is through me. This is God, but through me, but this is also because of you. So thank you so much. Really, thank you so much. And God bless you all. And come to Israel,
Yes, we will for sure. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for coming. We obviously went over, but Hila has so many important things. I could just listen to her for hours. So thanks again. Have a great night, everybody. Aloha.